Hello! Hello, hello! Good evening. I'm here to read to you. I have music on in the background. Hopefully it's not too loud. Let me know if it is. But yes, we are going to be reading the light novel of Tanya. So yes, I will show you the cover. Yes, very good, very good. This is one of my favorite drawings of Tanya, so I'm happy this is on the cover. It's just this picture on the back here. But yeah, alright. This is volume 1. So we're starting from the beginning. And, oh shit! Thank you, will do. Making it so hard for me to, like, okay. Me pronouncing things, gonna be a struggle today. I know it. Fucking know it. I have the pops with me. Yes, you are the pops. Oh, pops, fine. Hello. But hello, guys. Are you ready? Here you go, pops. Where's your brother? Mama. There's a buddy. There's a buddy. With pups on each side. Anyway. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, that I have pups. No, no, that's not how it works, Bubbles. Fuck Bubbles. But anyway, yeah, so we're gonna be reading today. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see how the light novel differs. I want to read the manga at some point, but I felt like the light novel would be better for stream because then I don't have to constantly be trying to show you guys the pictures too, because I feel like it's hard to like really absorb yourself in a manga if you can't see the photos and stuff. I'd need to like put it on the screen or something. I don't know. But yeah. Ta-da! Yeah. Alright. Cheers to anyone smoking with me. This will be fun. How many of you have seen Tanya? / how many of you have actually read this light novel? / how many have read the manga? I am curious. It's not a graphic novel. That would be the manga. The manga would be the graphic novel. The light novel is just a book. It's just a book. Thank you, Scott. Agreed, Matthew. Agreed. Maybe this will inspire those of you who haven't watched Tanya to go watch it, because it's honestly one of my favorite animes. It's so well done. And if you're turned off by it because you've like heard things about it, like I feel like people say shit about it without having ever watched it, because it's pretty tame, and honestly just like the world building, amazing. Like they really thought of everything, and it's just a really good twist on isekais. So yeah. I suggest you try it out. Watch episode 1 at least. You've watched the anime? Okay. Alright, we've got a few people. We've got a few people who haven't. Oh, you're on volume 5 of the light novel? Nice. Nice. Okay, so you've read more than me, because I've watched let's see, I've watched obviously all of the anime, and then I watched the movie, which was super good. I'm excited for the next season. I need another season. I haven't read any of the manga yet, and I haven't read the light novel yet, but I'm excited So, yes. Oh, I love it. It's just like the animation is genuinely so beautiful. Like you can tell the amount of love that went into fucking animating it. It's great. Like the fight scenes, fuck. If you like war movies or you like good fight scenes or like gun battles or anything like that, if you like flying, if you liked the fight style of Attack on Titan, you might like it. Stuff like that. It's just so fucking good. Why do people use a different term for Japanese comics? Because it would... Let's see. Am I gonna look like a dumbass who doesn't know what I'm talking about and call it a Japanese comic? Or am I gonna be a full weeb and just call it a manga because it's a fucking manga? Like, what do you mean? It just shows the level of knowledge you have about it, I guess? Because calling it a Japanese comic sounds like my mom talking about it or something. Why am I drinking huh? Do you have eyes? This is clearly soda. That's fair. It would be really hard to animate this though. So I get why they didn't do that. All right. Well, should I begin? No, I definitely was confused at first in episode 2, but then I was like, no, wait, this makes sense. But I was more confused when I was watching the second episode of When They Cry. That was confusing as fuck. I literally had to go do research. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Anyway, let me show you the insert. The side of the insert. She's super fucking short. Look how fucking short she is. Short. Short. So short. Thank you, Devilish. Okay, and then on this side, we've got some more Tanya. And then down here we've got the timeline. And I'll read it off to you guys, but I just want to show it to you. But here, let me read the timeline off to you guys. 0 months. Born for the second time. 3 months. First memory being... Let me get near the light here. This is super dark. First memory being spoon-fed vegetables as Tanya dear. Begins... Oh, sorry. 3 years, 2 months. Begins reading and writing. 5 years, 1 month. Gets in a fight about food at the orphanage. Achieves a peaceful resolution. 7 years, 3 months. Magic aptitude detected. Well, revealed during a physical at the church grade school attached to the orphanage. 7 years, 4 months. Receives a notice about future conscription. Conscription. Okay. Yeah, okay. Fuck. This type on this black background is so hard to read. Anyway. 8 years. Enrolls in the Imperial Army Military Academy. 9 years. Graduates early from the Imperial Army Military Academy. Present day. Okay. Ooh. This is a cool... Sorry, this is the first time I've opened it. This is the table of contents here. It looks so pretty. I love this. I love this! Yeah, peaceful, exactly. It was literally in quotations. Okay, chapter 1. Prologue. Prologue. Let's go. Okay. July 18th, Unified Year 1914. Somewhere in Imperial Capital Buran. In the beginning, there was only light. Then came a gentle sensation of floating. A brief repose. Can't say that word. A brief repose. There was a warmth and a vague restlessness, provoking a desire to lose oneself. Lose oneself. Yes, I've forgotten something, but what could it be? What could I have possibly forgotten? Before a chance to face such questions came along, it suddenly began shivering. A moment later, its mind registered the cold, a chill that pierced the skin. Such was the nature of a newborn babe's first brush with the crisp, raw air outside the womb. Not that there was time to realize, but the sudden onslaught of alien yet once familiar sensations caused a panic. At the same time, it began writhing in distress, caught up in a violent struggle to breathe. The pain was nearly unbearable as the lungs, the entire body, each and every cell, cried out for oxygen. Unable to remain calm enough for rational thought, all it could do was thrash about. The overwhelmed, unresponsive senses, ravaged by agony, left no option other than flailing in pain. Strangled by these things, it easily lost consciousness. Fully free of the emotions of a human who hadn't wept in ages, the body sobbed instinctively. Awareness faded, and the concept of self grew muddled. Upon awakening, it saw the ashen sky. The world was blurry, or perhaps that was due to a hazy vision. Everything seemed distorted, as if seen through glasses with the wrong prescription. Despite having been out of touch with human emotion for so long, even it was unsettled by such clouded eyesight. It was impossible to discern even rough shapes. After nearly 3 years of objective time, having finally begun to regain a sense of self, it was struck with utter confusion. What is this? What happened to me? This vessel couldn't maintain awareness for very long, and the memory of being placed in it had yet to surface. So when its fading consciousness just barely registered an infant's wails, it found the cries shameful, yet failed to understand why. Perhaps mature adults didn't cry, but babies certainly did. Infants were supposed to be protected and given equal opportunities, not despised. Thus, with a deep sense of relief, it relegated, got it. It relegated the vague shame to a dark corner of its mind, blaming it on the lack of clear consciousness. The next time a hazy sense of comprehension dawned, it was absolutely bewildered. Not surprisingly. If memory served correctly, it should have been it should have been on a Yamanote train platform. Hopefully that's how you say that. Yamanote. Yet after coming to, it was somehow inside a massive Western-style stone building, getting its mouth wiped by a nun who seemed to be a nursemaid. If this was a hospital, then a safe assumption could be made that there had been some sort of accident. Blurry vision could be explained by an injury as well. Yet now that its eyes could be seen clearly in the poor lighting, it could make out nuns in old-fashioned dresses. And the inadequate illumination apparently came from anachronistic, I think, gas lamps, unless things were not the way they seemed. Tanya, dear, say ah. At the same time, it noticed a bizarre lack of electrical appliances nearby. In the civilized society of 2013, here was a room devoid of electronics, yet riddled with items long considered antiques. Are they Mennonites or Amish? But why? What am I doing here with them? Tanya, dear. Tanya! The situation was a difficult one to grasp. The confusion only deepened. Come now, you won't open your mouth for me, dear? Tanya! I don't understand. That was precisely the problem. That was why it hadn't noticed the spoon the nun held out. But of course, even if it had, never in a million years would it have dreamed of eating the preferred? Is that how you spell preferred? Okay. Yeah, okay. It would have never dreamed of eating the preferred food. Surely the spoon was meant for this Tanya dear. But while all these thoughts were swirling around, the nun finally lost her patience. With a sweet yet stern smile that brooked no argument, she stuffed the spoon into its mouth. You mustn't be picky, dear. Open up. It was a scoop of vegetables that had been stewed into mush. But that single spoonful also thrust the truth at Hiterto? At Hiterto. Is that his name? No, that's not capital. At Hiterto, uncomprehending Tanya. I don't know what that means. Stewed vegetables. That's all the nun had stuffed into its mouth. But for the person in question, the action only made things more bewildering. In other words, I am Tanya. Thus, a cry arose from the depths of its soul. Why? Oh, wait. Something that is out of place for its specific time. Oh. Oh, cool. We're learning. Alright. August 14th. AD 1971. Fuck. Sorry. Dyslexia. United States of America. On August 14th, 1971, a team of researchers led by Dr. Philip Zimbardo— oh god, not this. Okay, that's fine. Led by Dr. Philip Zimbardo, commenced an experiment under a grant received by the United States Department of the Navy's Research Institute of Office of Naval Research, ONR. The planned duration was a mere 2 weeks. Its objective was to collect rudimentary data on an issue with Marine Corps prisons that the Navy was also facing. The participants recruited for this experiment were normal college students of sound mind and body. On the second day, however, the team ran into serious ethical problem. Not only did those who had been assigned to be guards verbally abuse and degrade the ones in the prisoner role despite the prohibition of such behavior, but also acts of violence had become increasingly prevalent. As a result, the team was forced to discontinue the trial only 6 days after it began. This later became known as the Stanford Prison Experiment. Ironically enough, notwithstanding the pitfalls of the project's dubious morality, the results were replete with implications for the field of psychology. Along with its predecessor, the Milgram experiment, the Stanford Prison Experiment demonstrated something fundamental about human nature. Except I need to interject here. Because it's been proven false. Listen, he specifically chose people that had, like, he looked for people that had a predisposition for being, having anger issues and stuff. He specifically chose people. It was skewed from the beginning. Like, I'm not saying it's completely wrong or anything, but Zimbardo is a quack, alright? Just saying. Vsauce made a great video about it. Go watch that if you're interested. Anyway. Continuing on. In an isolated space, individuals would submit to power and authority, while those in dominant positions would wield it without restriction. Analysis of this phenomenon, known as obedience to authority, yielded shocking results. Surprisingly, this difference had nothing to do with a person's rationality, sensibility, or personality, but was instead the product of remarkable individuation. Oh, de-individuation. Okay, sorry. I was like, what the fuck is this word? Triggered by the assistance of roles. In other words, the two experiments demonstrated that human behavior was dependent on environment. To put it in extreme terms, the results indicated that anyone could have worked as a guard in Auschwitz, regardless of their individual disposition or moral character. In the end, environment played a larger role defining an individual than personal traits. Oh, environment played a larger defining role in than individual? Okay, whatever. That sentence structure is kind of weird. Okay. When he learned in university that humans were that sort of creature, it felt right rather than wrong. Surely everyone learns as part of compulsory education in an elementary school that all people were born equal. Children are taught that they are all equal, unique, and irreplaceable. But it isn't hard to find disparities that contradict those familiar maxims. Why is the kid sitting in front taller than me? Why are some of my classmates good at dodgeball and others aren't? Why can't the kid next to me solve such a simple problem? Why can't the kids in the back be quiet when the teacher's talking? But in an elementary school environment, children are expected to be good. They are told that everyone is different yet special. They are terrified that if they don't follow etiquette, they will be bad. And so, the good kids strive to avoid becoming bad. By the time they begin attending cram schools to prepare for entrance exams, the good kids strictly look down on the bad kids and make a point of avoiding them. They will enter a good junior high, followed by a respectable high school, and then a prestigious university. God, this is feeling so Japanese right now. These people are on the fastest track, doing their best within the rules and regulations presented to them. In order to remain good in that environment, students have to do exactly as they are told and always meet everyone's expectations. Just as they are told, they spend day after day hunched over textbooks and reference books, competing with classmates for grades. As they lead such a life, those engaged in the fierce battle of college entrance exams come to view idlers as losers. Within an environment where grades determine everything, it's only natural for high achievers to hold poor students in contempt. On the other hand, the majority of those successful students don't consider themselves especially bright. After all, it had long been the case that whenever a regular student shows even a little pride, the truly gifted in their grade put them in their place. Bruh. It's dog eat dog. Holy shit. I'm glad my school wasn't like that. One student might have been having a hard time while the kid next to him is nonchalantly entering the International Physics or International Mathematical Olympiads. It takes more than a little effort to sit shoulder to shoulder in a classmate with geniuses for whom comprehending all the material is a given. Despite the warped perspective, they have a strong enough grasp on reality to diligently pursue their studies. Whether they like it or not, all college-bound students know the truth. If they want an income comparable to what their parents possess, they have to attend a good university and get a decent job, at the very least. This group is given by a strong youthful desire to succeed, but along with that desire comes the fatal fear of failure. As such, they have no choice but to chain themselves to their desks. After struggling in that harsh world, the best students pass the entrance exams for universities worthy of being called prestigious. Then, the game changes. Many are forced to realize that they have entered a world where people are no longer valued by grades, but the question, what have you achieved? Those who can adapt to the sudden paradigm shift and the new environment do. obey the rules, search for the loopholes, sneer at the guidelines despite being bound by them. In the end, everyone learns that rules are necessary to make the system run smoothly. Freedom without laws means anarchy. Laws without freedom means tyranny. So, as much as they hate restrictions, they fear unlimited freedom. He failed to understand people who came in late to class. He couldn't see the value of people who drank themselves into oblivion. He couldn't comprehend the spotty types who droned on about the power of the human spirit. This is Tanya they're talking about, by the way. But then he encountered the Chicago school and saw how these works applied rationally to the relationship between rules and freedom. He was ecstatic. After all, it meant that he could stay on track as long as he played by the rules. He managed to exude the experience of a diligent university student while hiding the fact that he was a nerd. In essence, that's what it meant to be free within the confines of the rules. As far as friends were concerned, he enjoyed hanging out with his high school buddies, as well as a bunch of kindred spirits he met in college. This was his moratorium? This was his moratorium until he went out into the world, although he still made sure to improve himself and develop connections. Naturally, he invested in his human capital by acquiring language skills and culture to a point. That, plus his educational background, according to that theory of signaling, would project society's ideal of a good college student. Surprisingly, what people like him needed wasn't actually talent. The important thing was looking good on paper. In other words, recruiters preferred someone who passed the company's exam with flying colors, came from a prestigious school, and was a familiar face to the interviewers. It was for precisely that reason that the headwind of the recession's employment slump didn't particularly blow against him. After all, he was on his mark at a different starting line compared to everyone else. In truth, he had the advantage. His contest was completely rigged. This contest was completely rigged. From the get-go, it was only natural to visit alumni who came from the same alma mater. In fact, he'd gone so far as to accept invitations to grab a few drinks with the recruiters from Human Resources. Now just imagine if someone on the employment side attended the same junior and senior high or was a graduate of his college. They would offer guidance about what qualities recruiters looked for as such and such company and how to present himself in the interviews. And then there's a little note at the bottom here after Chicago School, and it says, the Chicago School of Economics is, in brief, a delightful school of economic thought hailing the market mechanism. Some extremists even use economic values to analyze social issues across the board: drugs, families, education, immigrants, and so on. You can learn more from the slightly dated book, The Economics of Life, from baseball to affirmative action to immigration, and how real-world issues affect our everyday life, or by checking out the latest on this blog, and then it gives a fucking link. Amazing. Okay. Thank you. Okay, I will get tiny puppy break. Tiny puppy break? And there's not just one dog, there's two. Baby! Come here, bud! Meeples! Come, Meeples! Come! Meeples! Meeples! Okay, here you got a second one. Here you go, Floppy. You have to take it. Thank you. Holy shit. Oh, puppies. Yes, this is still prologue. Okay. Oh, shoot. Stretch. Oh. It's depressing? Is it? I mean, they're just kind of explaining, like, what his mindset is. They're just kind of setting up, like, his backstory here. It's basically all that's happening right now. Cheers. Did he go on the bed? Oh, it's Bubbles is over behind me. Okay. As long as he combined his various connections and did decently in the interviews, he would have nothing to worry about. If he wasn't too picky, he could get a job that put food on the table for sure. By obediently doing whatever he was told, he became a societal gear. Oh, societal. Okay. He became a societal gear that performed well at a steady pace. Somewhere along the line, he began to view himself as a mature adult in that work setting. Job satisfaction. Why could I not say that word? Job satisfaction, individuality, creativity. He was a cog in society, and he could assert that the content of his work didn't matter as long as he received fair compensation. From the company's perspective, the ideal employee was required to complete assignments promptly while maintaining a level of quality appropriate to their salary. Adhering to the company's philosophy in all things, the ideal employee would take initiative and search for ways to turn a profit. It wasn't terribly difficult for him to adapt to life as a slave to the corporate logic. Heartless, robotic, callous, impersonal, concerns of that nature only troubled him in the very beginning. He was terrified of people who howled ingloriously or resorted to violence. It wasn't possible for him to comprehend such disgraceful behavior, but with time he acclimated. It was just like school. Humans are creatures designed to adapt to change. When it comes down to it, conforming to the environment means assuming one's assigned role. A guard acts like a guard, and a prisoner acts like a prisoner. The days passed uneventfully, alternating between work and hobbies. Naturally, work progressed efficiently. Following company directives and avoiding mistakes as much as possible were important to not let work cut into precious free time. Coincidentally, by the time he entered his 30s, he was not close to matching his parents' income, but also had most definitely gotten on the promotion track. He was highly regarded for his devotion to the company and loyalty to the executives, and he climbed the advancement ladder in the human resources department. He even received a touchstone award as a section manager. Yes, that's right, I had an important job. There's absolutely no reason, none whatsoever, for a nun to stuff a spoonful of boiled vegetables down my throat. I'm being quite the gentleman, not even screaming at the top of my lungs to demand what right you have to call me Tanya, dear. Growing impatient, he attempted to stand in order to launch his "Why me" tirade. That was when it hit him. His head throbbed as unpleasant memories suddenly surfaced. February 22nd, AD, 2013, Tokyo, Japan. Why? Why me? Why? It's obviously because... Oh, sorry, that wasn't it. Why? It's obviously because your cost performance is abysmal. On top of that, you've been absent quite a lot. And as another nail in the coffin, I have a report from your direct supervisor claiming that you've taken out multiple cash advance loans of who knows how much. Plus, you admittedly refuse to see the occupational physician at every turn. In conclusion, it's clear that you're becoming a costly employee. More importantly, we can't have you causing some sort of scandal and marring the company's good name. I'd love to ask you, is there any reason we should keep you on board? But due to certain laws, I must conceal such sentiments deep within my heart and respond with as much tact as possible. You've already failed to complete your PIP twice. The company gave you perfectly reasonable order to attend PIP completion training, but you refused. And you have numerous unexcused absences. False courtesy? That's just fine. It's not prohibited by law. But this is a for-profit corporation, not a charity for the socially inept. That said, as you've contributed to our company for such a long time, I believe a voluntary resignation, rather than a disciplinary dismissal, would better serve both our interests. While this may be a huge waste of time, it's still part of the job description. I've never had to go on client visits before. How the hell does that count as training? It combats deteriorating work results by helping supervisors understand sales representatives and find ways to improve their managerial practices. With that in mind, we felt that was necessary for you to undergo this training. Even if it's all in a day's work, this is still tiring. It's an utter pain to deal with the endless parade of weeping and wailing employees who try to cling to us. If you think crying will change things, go for it. In some parts of the business world, that's a valid tactic. But if you think it'll work after calling me things like a heartless monster, boss's pet, or cyborg, you've got another thing coming. I've always known that I wasn't the best, unable to compete with the geniuses, and unable to match the gifted through hard work and dedication. My personality has grown utterly warped. I'm a mess of convoluted complexes. Truly benevolent people are awe-inspiring. As far as hypocrisy is concerned, I have what society as a whole deems to be a healthy level, but knowing I'm insincere makes me scoff all the more. Despite being self-aware about this, how ghastly I am, I still harbor the arrogant belief that I'm superior to the inept fool wailing before me. At least as far as cost performance is concerned, I've maintained superior results. So even through restructuring. So even though restructuring departments assigned for consideration through layoffs is a pain, I take it seriously. From here, I should shoot straight up the ladder and land in the chair for Director of Human Resources. My life should have been fairly smooth sailing. Should have been. After reflecting on that point, a rather unpleasant event resurfaces. It's said that humans are political animals by nature, but apparently the type of humans who get pink slips are animals who prioritize animal emotions over logic, or who commonly accept taboos. When you get down to it, aren't there more people who, unlike the good academic elite, act out their impulses? The director specifically warned me to watch my back at the situation, but I couldn't see what he was getting at. Wham! Something slams into me. I fall from the platform in bizarre slow motion. The moment I see the train, my consciousness cuts off. When I wake up, I encounter an unspeakable injustice. Are you really living creatures of flesh and blood? Sorry, who are you? An elderly man, taken straight out of a cookie-cutter novel, heaves a heavy sigh as he observes me. It has to be one of three possible explanations. 1. I miraculously survived, and a doctor is examining me, but I'm unable to perceive it correctly. In other words, it's possible my eyes or my brain have suffered serious trauma. I'm dying. 2. I'm dying, and this is either a delusion or a hallucination. Maybe my life is flashing before my eyes. 3. I've woken up in the real world after mistaking a dream for reality. I could still be half asleep. The whole lot of you have the most twisted personalities. What a bunch of nonsense What a bunch of nonsense in that head of yours. Did he just read my mind? If he did, that's an extremely indecent and unwelcome violation of my privacy, as well as an intrusion on confidential matters. I certainly did, but it's disgusting reading the minds of uncompassionate disbelievers. Well, what do you know? I never dreamed the devil was real. You only come up with the craziest ideas. Only God or the devil is capable of defying universal laws. If God existed, he wouldn't ignore all the injustice in the world. Thus, this world lacks a God. Therefore, being X before me is the devil. I rest my case. Fuck. Are you disbelievers trying to work your creator to death? You disbelievers, in the plural, which means he's referring to the others along with me. Should I take comfort in the fact that I'm not alone? Hard to say. Well, I don't specifically hate myself. I don't particularly love me either. I mean deranged souls like yours. They're everywhere these days. Why aren't you attending enlightenment as humanity advances? Don't you want Don't you want deliverance from your earthly bondage? I suspect this is simply the result of that social progress. Rawls' theory of justice. Oh, there's a little thingy down there. Okay. What is Rawls' theory of justice? Here we go. We're learning so much today. Bless up. All right. What is it? A theory that greatly influenced political philosophy. That would happen. Oh, sorry. What would happen if we had to create rules to live by starting from scratch when we don't know our place in society? After that discussion, Rawls explores what fair laws might look like. His conclusions are broadly split into two principles. The first guarantees individual equality and freedom, while the second permits inequality for the purpose of special consideration and equal opportunity for the weaker members of society. It's important to note that while he considers everyone equal, he takes the stance that the wealthy should pay progressive taxes to take care of the weak and provide support for the needy, also known as the liberty principle, the difference principle, and the fair equality of opportunity principle. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Rawls' theory of justice is an absolutely wonderful, but actually applying it is unrealistic. Humans have already been divided into the haves and have-nots. It might be interesting as a hypothetical proposal, but in reality, people can't just give up what they have for the sake of others. Isn't it natural to pursue material gain in this life rather than worry about the future? Even so, what does it matter? If I'm dead, what's going to happen to my soul? Let's discuss this constructively. What really matters is what comes next. Like I was just trying to, reason with him. I'll just throw you back in the cycle of life and death. You're getting reborn, replies the self-proclaimed God, being X. The answer the stranger gives is quite simple. I bet he's fulfilling his duty to explain. Yes. Work is not something to be taken lightly. I can appreciate the importance of assuming responsibility and acting in compliance with the law. Like it or not, as a member of society, of an organization, I would probably indicate that I understand how we're to proceed. Very well, in that case, go ahead and do your thing. For starters, I plan on doing a better job of watching my back in my next life. I've learned that there are two types of people, rational and irrational, so I'll undoubtedly need to revisit behavioral economics. Ugh, I've had it. But the words he whispered under his breath leave me perplexed. Huh? Can't you guys get your acts together? Far be it from any of you to attain enlightenment and break free from the cycle when you lack so much of a shred of faith, he complains, making this awkward for me. Quite honestly, I have no idea what this being X, self-proclaimed God, is so mad about. I realize elderly folks can be quick-tempered, but when someone who appears to hold a fairly senior position flies into a blind rage, they can be hard to read. If it were an anime... If this were an anime, you could write it off as a gag, but in the real world, you rarely get that luxury. Humans these days have strayed too far from the universal laws. They can't tell right from wrong. Geez, being X can preach all he wants about universal laws, but I don't know what the hell he's talking about. And if these laws really do exist, it's annoying that he didn't give notice beforehand. He's asking for too much if he expects people to adhere to laws they've never seen, let alone consented to. I can't comprehend something that hasn't been put into words. To my knowledge, I've yet to develop telepathic powers. I gave you the 10 Commandments, you know. 1. Thou shalt not have no other gods before me. I cannot read. 2. Thou shalt not take the name of thy Lord and God in vain. 3. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 4. Honor thy father and thy mother. 5. Thou shalt not kill. 6. Thou shalt not commit adultery. 7. Thou shalt not steal. 8. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. 9. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. 10. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's property. The commandments suddenly flow into my mind via telepathy or something. But, well, damn. See, I was born in a polytheistic region of the world where we're used to letting things slide as religious tolerance, so I'm honestly not sure how to react to someone bringing up the commandments. LMAO. For the record, I happen to honor my parents, and I've never killed anyone, but I'm biologically male. Certain sexual instincts are programmed into me. I can't do anything about those. It'd be another story if I had handled the programming, but I hadn't. Wait, what? If I had handled the programming, but I didn't? I don't know what that means. I'll regret that as long as I live. Just how long does God live? I'm mildly intrigued. If only from a purely academic perspective. Unsurprising given my inquisitiveness and curiosity. I've never fought the desire or impulse to murder someone. Sure, it's refreshing whenever I nail a headshot in FPS, but that doesn't make me any more bloodthirsty than the next guy. I'm pro-animal rights. I'm pretty sure that's at the very least. I've taken posters to support a movement trying to decrease the catch and kill programs of various shelters. So you didn't dirty your hands, but you still deprived pleasures from the act of killing, didn't you? I've never stolen anything, borne fault witness against another, or had the joy of winning a married woman's heart. Above all else, I've gone through life as an upright, honest person. I fulfilled my duties at work and adhere to the law, and I can't recall ever actively defying the prescribed conduct for a human being. If I had been sent to war, maybe I would have received... Okay. If I had been sent to war, maybe I would have received a revelation from God while parachuting that I should dedicate my life to farming shrimp. Unfortunately, my experience serving in the military was limited to online games. Have it your way. If you won't repent, I'll have no choice but to impose a fitting punishment on you. I'd like to think these false accusations can only go so far, and why me? But as a rule of thumb, I know it's never wise to let things pan out on their own. Wait a moment, if you will. Stuff it. I wish you wouldn't lose your temper. If you're claiming to be the supreme being, even if you're not doing a very good job at it, I wish you were a bit more mentally mature. I suppose you could even keep the disguise. This one lawyer acquaintance of mine comes across as two completely different people depending on whether he's in court or online. The man even has a full social life. While I don't expect you to reach his level of perfection, you could try a bit harder. I'm already overworked managing 7 billion souls. The Bible says, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. Admittedly, my knowledge of the matter is limited, but I'm fairly certain that mankind has been fairly obeying this doctrine. I can just see the Malthus turning in his grave. You might say that mankind has multiplied too much. If you're going to work in administration, I wish you'd keep track of the orders you'd issue. Hopefully you won't get fired after losing the respect of all your subordinates. At any rate, seeing as you're the administrator, you should take full responsibility for what you've said. All I've ever get are you skeptics without a speck of faith. You're putting me in the red. Honestly, isn't that the flaw of the business model? I won't take this from anyone who broke his contract. Aren't you guys the ones who wanted a shot at enlightenment in the first place? You can't expect me to know unless you notify me. That's what I really think. It's common sense to send important documents through certified mail, and recently a contract should be handled over in person. It would have been nice if you left the contract on a permanent medium too. You borrowed before the laws of God, you know. The scientific advances these days are almost magical. Overdeveloped science is practically magic. Hooray for natural science. All is right in the world. In our society of abundance, neither a sense of crisis nor devotion will spread without an impending threat. That's why we desperately cling to things. Unless driven into a corner, people won't cling to religion. So, in other words, it's like that, you know... You say I know, but I'm afraid I won't until you tell me. I think being X was making fun of his speech pattern. There's nothing to be done for the increasingly flippant way I am treating being X, but not being able to have a conversation is truly frustrating. What can we do about that? At this point, if there were some sort of interpreter service, I'd hire them without too much concern for the fee. You're driven by lust, you lack faith, and you don't fear your creator. Furthermore, you can't find a moral fiber in your entire body. Objection, I want to shout. I'm not that bad. Based on moral and social norms, I'm not nearly as horrible as you make me out to be. Spare me. You're all the same, or I wouldn't turn around and repeat this song and dance every time one of you is reborn. Like I said before, the real problem here is overpopulation, or at the very least, it has to do with our lengthening lifespans. There's this thing called average life expectancy. Yes, of course, there's also an essay on the principle of population. Okay, here's another lesson. Bless up. Okay. Mr. Thomas Robert Mathis is a classic masterpiece on demography. According to this theory, population grows geometrically, but the food supply resources to sustain life only grows arithmetically. In other words, it's a brutal and blunt theory stating that mankind will quickly expand until all usable resources are stretched to the limit. Even without God's decree to multiply, our population would always increase to barely sustainable levels. It's a terrifying concept, yet surprisingly, it cannot be ignored. That's what it says. Okay. You haven't read it? The way we multiply like rats? You must have your hands full. It's not as though we're doing anything in particular. I believe a simple analysis will show that your business model is flawed. If the number of believers increased along with the population, things would be fine. Yeah, so there's the flaw in your business model. All I can say is that you did a sloppy job of psychoanalyzing your consumer base. That's a structural mistake from back in the planning stages. So in your case, you don't believe it's because you were a male, living in a world of science, ignorant of war and unthreatened? Huh? What? I think I might have screwed up. Okay, let's calm down right now. Being X is as dangerous as the director of human resources was during that mess when another company poached a bunch of our veteran engineers. I understand the situation, and I've already considered how to deal with it. So if I remedied that, even the likes of you would awaken to faith. Aren't you jumping to conclusions? Why don't you calm down? I'll admit, I said that overdeveloped science has clouded faith, but God, please calm down. That's right, relax. If we could feel the grace of the Lord, that would solve everything. Oh, but of course, I understand. I know all too well how graciously you watch over us. You are as guiding as... as you were guiding me right now. Yes, I fully understand. So would you be so kind as to lower your hand? And might I add, I'm afraid the part about how I'm ignorant of war was a misunderstanding. Groveling won't get you anywhere now. Wait, my lord, please, remember that neither magic nor miracles have ever been proven real in our world. Anyone who claims to have seen a miracle smells fishier than a fish market. Same with your existence. And for another thing, it doesn't matter whether you're male or female. It's obvious that both genders have sexual desire. Enough already. You've made your case. Anyway, I'm gonna try this out. Excuse me? I'm going to test this on you! So yeah, that about sums up my memory. I wish I could forget it. Okay. Ah, shit! Shanky, catfish. And I will smoke. That's the end of the prologue! Boys and girls, end of the prologue. Good time to smoke. Alright, now we know his backstory and why he became that. Honestly, like, cause, okay, if you've watched the anime, like, their conversation, thank you, Carson, their fucking, his conversation with Being X in the anime, like, they do cover some of those things, but, like, he really walks into his situation, doesn't he? He really walks into it. Like, I'm not upset by that, because I feel like that makes more sense. You know, it gives more of a motive to being specifically sending him there. I like it. Yeah, that's the prologue. Now we get into the good shit. I mean, it's all good shit. Okay. Chapter 1. The Sky Over Norden. But yeah, no, it's just giving, like, background to, like, why Tanya acts the way they do. She does. Thank you, Dynamite. Bless up. Right? It gives me a deeper appreciation for the show. Okay, let's see. Let me check and see how long chapter 1 is. Oh boy, chapter 1 is long. Where is it? Ooh. God, the drawings are so good. Fuck. Holy shit, where is chapter 2? Oh, found it. Found it. Okay. We have 18. So we have like 60 pages to read. 60 pages. So I'm not gonna read all 60, but I am gonna read, they have like by day. So I'll just read, let's see how many days I'll read. Let's see how long those are. Those are shorters, they're like mini chapters in the chapters. Yeah, perfect. Okay, that's only like 20 pages. That's better. Yes, yes, yes. Don't worry, I will keep reading this to you guys. Seems like a good one, if you guys are into that. The pages are thick. They're thick pages. I don't know why, but the pages are thick. But okay. Here we go. June, Unified Year 1923. 3rd Patrol Line, Norden Theater. Oh, this part. Okay, let's go. Norden Theater, Northern Military District. Why am I out here fighting in a war? My conscious self, assigned by the identity of Magic Second Lieutenant. My conscious self assigned the identity of Magic Second Lieutenant Tanya Degrajov, I think that's how you say her last name, poses the question again as I clasp an orb in tiny hands, leave the rifle that's serving as my scepter on the ground, and soar into the sky. How did I end up like this? Fairy 08 to Norden Control. Fairy 08 to Norden Control. Acknowledge. A single dot stands out over the gloomy Actually, I feel it. Hold on. Fairy. Oh, wait. Fairy 8 to Norden Control. Fairy 8 to Norden Control. Acknowledge. A single dot stands out over the gloomy, overcast skies of Norden. This minuscule speck blending into the clouds is none other than one of the Empire's mighty aerial magic officers. Due to a sick twist of fate, if I take a look at myself, I'm cursed to see a little girl participating in a war. The uniform computation orb are proof that I'm a soldier. Through scientific means, the sphere I carry controls the supernatural phenomenon known as formulas, which allows mages to influence the world with their will. As implied by the modern name of ancient orbs, courtesy of science and magic, this fruit of magic engineering has unraveled the numeric values of the world. My mission is to act as an artillery observer from a pre-designed airspace while maintaining a comfortable ground speed at an altitude of 6,000 feet. Fairy, this is Northern Control. We read you loud and clear. No problems tracking you. This is about a piece of cake. Wait, talk about a piece of cake. This is just air support mission. This is just an air support mission at the border between the Empire and the Entrance Alliance. Wait, Entente Alliance. But this vigilant spotter magician, maintaining her flight formula with the computation orb around her neck, must look surprisingly small. Ah, yes. Picture. Picture time, picture time. Picture time! Tanya picture. Yay, Tanya. Waifu. Alright. And I am pint-sized. Yeah, we saw the fucking print at the very beginning. Also, aren't you, like, literally 10? Like, what do you mean? It makes people wonder if my age has hit double digits yet. Moreover, I have a petite frame, even for a girl. Comparing Tanya's height to me, to the physically blessed body of my previous life, it's absolutely mortifying. He's like, I was so hot! Fuck! It was miserable to hear that Tanya's neck was too narrow to properly wear the aviation throat mic headset. I can't do it. I'm just gonna read normal. Fairy 08, Roger. I've reached the mission airspace. Reading you loud and clear. As I say, I'm already redesigned to the voice... Oh. I'm already resigned to the voice spewing from my mouth, though the high-pitched tone makes me feel like something's haunting me. No matter how accustomed to hearing it I become, I can't stand it. Whenever my tongue can't keep up with my mind and I end up nearly biting it or stuttering. I feel utterly humiliated. Northern Control, Roger. Proceed to your assigned mission. Of course the army is seriously something else for having no qualms, even after hearing that girlish, partial lisp. Perhaps it's simply a matter of being pragmatic, but the military has adopted the position that a person's aptitude for the magic arts can be a sufficient condition for military enlistment. Since aerial mages focus on air combat in the Empire where that has been taken to its logical conclusion, age limits for mages are a thing of the past, hence why the army has no problem deploying someone who looks young enough that they should still be with their guardian, if only as an artillery observer. Fairy 08, Roger. The area is all clear. I say again, area is all clear. Northern Control, over. This is an infantry battalion assigned to your observation area. Call sign Goliath 07. Barring new orders from airspace control, continue to perform your observation duties until the area is pacified out. The demands of the Empire's geopolitical position have played a large role in this method of procuring human resources. Surrounded by world powers due to historical circumstance, the state has been forced to face potential enemies in every direction. Securing the military strength needed for their large territories' national defense is a perpetually pressing issue. In order to resolve the problem, the General Staff's frenzied efforts have reached the point where they'll exploit anyone within reach. Fairy 08, this is the Provisional Corps Artillery Battalion. Call sign Goliath 07. How copy? This being the case, the army apparently thinks nothing of tossing a young girl out to the border on air patrol if it can use her. I am quite literally a child soldier. Thanks, Being X. Just literally turns... Bless up. He's like, oh! Oh, you don't believe in me unless you're a girl who's gone through war and, like, there's magic involved? Bet. Thanks. Creates a reality with more child soldiers. Thank you. Thank you, Being X. Goliath 07, this is Fairy 08. Reading you loud and clear. I've confirmed the enemy infantry advance. Sending data now. Acknowledge. I bet the sight of a young girl flying through the air, her adorable voice confined to a matter-of-fact register, must seem terribly surreal. When you get down to it, a proper army is supposed to be composed of proper adult soldiers. That's only common sense. But it isn't just statistic in the signal. Hearing women's and children's voices on the mic has become commonplace among mages. The armed forces have practical expectation in place for just about everything. More than anything, the harsh days in service exhaust decent people, so any initial discomfort over allowing a girl to participate in combat has long since worn off. Goliath 07, Roger. Base Pierce starting calibration fire. That's why the aerial mage enlisted as Second Lieutenant Tanya is serving as an artillery observer during this battle in the northern reaches of Norden, calmly and skillfully delivering periodic reports via the radio set on her back that's nearly as big as she is. But actually, it isn't as though I don't question or doubt what I'm doing flying out here. Impact confirmed. Looks like a close hit. Looks to be within the allowable error margin of 10 meters. Time for... Oh, wait. I'm gonna just reread that. Impact confirmed. Looks like a close hit. Looks to be within the allowable error margin of 10 meters. Fire for effect. Goliath 07, Roger. Commencing fire mission now. While my blue eyes attentively look below, there's no denying that they hold a glint of frustration. Why was I reborn into this world? Made the opposite gender, and now stuck fighting a war. The most annoying things are the physical changes. A child's body is horribly inconvenient. At first, even though girls develop quicker than boys, the size difference was simply too great to maneuver my body with the same equilibrium I had trusted for years. On top of that, I've keenly felt how much I've become a helpless child on multiple occasions since joining the army. I couldn't hold a gun, it was too big. In the end, I couldn't aim worth a damn, and the recoil ended up bruising my shoulder. When I sparred, there was a streak of pity on my partner's face whenever he threw me. LMAO. Good, there's no puppy spawning on me. Until I could see the world as 3 numeric vectors in the computation orb and get the hang of superimposing the realm of numbers with magic inference formulas, I had to crawl on my belly with arms and legs that refused to obey me. Because they depended... That's not a word. Because they depended on brains, not brawn, the magic arts were the only area where I succeeded. If only barely. The constraints of my body couldn't trouble me, and I could soar across the sky as long as I superimposed the world with my formulas. Perhaps I was able to overcome any reservations I might have had about magic due to its usefulness as a tool, but why must I use a tool simply because I have it? Oh, I get it. It's essential that we're able to use an ICBM. Okay, here's a little asterisk. Abbreviation for Intercontinental Ballistic Missile? Oh. Dr. Von Braun said the rocket worked perfectly except for landing on the wrong planet. When they went and came up with the most... Then they went and came up with the most extreme use possible for it. Okay. Where did I leave off? Oh, found it. Oh, I get it. It's essential that we're able to use an ICBM when the time calls for one. That's why it's necessary to make provisions for their maintenance, drills, and operations. That said, is there any reason we need to have ICBMs in the first place? In that same vein, gossip about seemingly strained relations with neighboring nations is hardly new. The Empire and Entente alliance have been struggling for quite some time with unofficial border conflicts. But in the international politics arena, at least, there's nominally no dispute over this territory. The problem isn't acknowledged because the Empire is such an incredible powerhouse. As far as Tanya is concerned, it's a simple matter comparable to how nations surrounding the Soviet nation independently avoid border disputes with it. Well, was. The only regrettable part of discussing the Empire's strength is that it had to be described in the past tense. Multiple isolated incidents have occurred along the border. There have been unintentional fire on both sides, which led to firefights due to misunderstanding. All such incidents were resolved at the level of the local commanding officers, but there's no denying the continually mounting tension. Under normal circumstances, if the Empire entered a state of semi-war at this point, Tanya's position would allow her to fall back to the rear echelon and serve in non-combat roles. After all, Warrant Officer Tanya Degajov had been a cadet attending the military academy up until the outbreak of hostilities. A greenhorn would only get in the way on the front lines, so it would be normal for her to serve somewhere in the rear, such as in the technical arsenal or logistical command. Once the Empire began making preparations in anticipation for war. Despite the unsettling state of world affairs, Tanya's optimistic superiors decided this was all merely Berkmanship diplomacy. Thanks to them, she was stuck completing her training out in the field. The flight patrols she took part of, in coordination with the army, The flight patrols she took part in coordination with the army were only intended to serve as an extension of the education she was receiving at the academy. Having lost her opportunity to withdraw to the rear, Tanya was officially commissioned as a second lieutenant and deployed upon completing her training. She was also assigned to the call sign Fairy 08. Clearly, people were obnoxiously comparing her to a fairy. Based on her outward appearance alone, she was a puny kid, really, an incredibly young child. He's so triggered. On top of that, she had blue eyes that seemed to reflect a strong will and short blonde hair tied back to make it easier to manage. And considering her pale, clear-skinned complexion as well, her call sign did start to seem appropriate. The trouble began right after Tanya officially assumed her new post in the field with the Border Army. The administrative unit was comprised of direct promotes from the Magic Officers Training School and local relocations. As a new transfer, Tanya was forced to accept orders to stand by for 48 hours, assuming it was a traditional training exercise conceived by the brass to test their capacity for coping and maintaining alertness. Tanya had reluctantly suited up and gone on duty 24 hours ago. Then the emergency warnings came flying in from security outpost positions scattered along the border with such impeccable timing that it surely made the devil smile. Apparently there had been signs that the Entente Alliance was planning to conduct a large-scale cross-border operation. The Entente Alliance's new policy direction had already been a cause for concern. The reshuffling of executives resulting from a change in administration and the ensuing rise in nationalism had required a dramatic shift in doctrine. Honestly, the Entente's Alliance's operation was carried out with such ridiculously poor planning that not only Tanya, but also everyone in the Imperial Army was left wondering, why now of all times? Before they knew it, the Entente Alliance was scattering notices demanding Imperials to withdraw, a declaration of war. In other words, the Entente Alliance had insisted Imperial soldiers are to withdraw from our nation's territory within 24 hours. Perhaps a lowly command officer was incapable of understanding the Entente Alliance's reasons, but maybe the assumption was the Empire would avoid a full-blown military engagement since regional conflicts were extremely politically sensitive. If the Entente Alliance couldn't face reality, it's possible it would go down in history for all the wrong reasons. Are they stupid? Or so people wondered. Perhaps they devised some great plan that will lead them to victory? Despite being unable to comprehend the Entente Alliance's agenda or objective, the Empire nevertheless maneuvered its finely tuned bureaucracy and military organizations according to protocol. They played it by book and made preparations to intercept enemy forces. As a cog for her country, Tanya had no choice but to put in work commensurate with her pay. Admittedly, at this point, she rather optimistically predicted that all this was mostly for internal propaganda. After all, there is no way the nearby Federation would want two neighboring nations fighting on its doorstep. Everyone expected this to hold the Entente Alliance in check, whether through mediation or intimidation. Moreover, the Commonwealth and Republic were propping up the Entente Alliance. Suddenly they would put the brakes on this suicidal advance for fear that all the aid they had provided would be wasted. Yes, the vast majority of officers and soldiers were certain of the future. Military folk were realists by nature, after all. It goes without saying the Entente Alliance didn't stand a chance facing the Empire head-on. Everyone was certain one nation or another would step in to arbitrate, and then the politicians and diplomats from the two opposing nations would hash something out. But the scenario had been inconceivable to all, except for the Entente Alliance apparently became reality and astonished every human alive in this day and age. Disarm... Aw, thank you. I will take a break in a sec. But the scenario that had been inconceivable to all, except for the Entente Alliance, apparently, became reality and astonished every human alive in this day and age. Disarm and surrender to the advancing Entente Alliance army, or leave immediately. From a common sense perspective, the Entente Alliance's demands could only be described as shocking. Yet even then, the Empire continued to monitor the situation, incredulous. While reports that the Entente Alliance had crossed the border were not entirely unexpected, it was difficult for the Empire to see how such a thing could have actually come to pass. It seemed so preposterous that Lurgan, I think that's how you say it, an officer in the Imperial Army General Staff, would much later voice a suspicion. We were so unable to determine what the Entente Alliance was hoping to achieve that it made more sense to suspect our own military leaders of scheming and acting behind closed doors. Doubts and ambiguities aside, the pragmatic Imperial Army responded soberly by ordering an immediate response to the Entente Alliance's major cross-border operation. While there was hesitation and confusion over the Entente Alliance's agenda, once signs indicated that a potential conflict was brewing, the military began amassing supplies in preparation. All of the great army divisions that formed the core of the Empire's military power then assembled by rail from Central. The Imperial Army was so efficient that it pulled all of this off without incident. In fact, everything went so smoothly that it was internally regarded as an organizational victory. But although the Empire had procured an abundance of supplies and even gone so far as to mobilize troops, it was continually troubled by partial skepticism. Really? They'd never. Okay, I will take break now. Oh, stretch. Yeah. 10 p.m. It's 7:20. What are you talking about? Stretch. Stretch, 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 stretch. Okay. The Empire was known for its superior armaments, even among the great world powers. During times of peace, it would deploy corps-sized garrison to the border under the pretext of routine patrolling. The additional corps mustered to meet the minimum number of reserves, just in case, including Tanya's unit. With information warfare in mind, the Empire even extended invitations to mass media from various countries. So as usual, the military was completely prepared, but the usual was precisely what made everyone wonder. Is the Entente Alliance really going to invade? Tanya never dreamed the Entente Alliance would, without any semblance of justification, launch their inferior forces across the border in offensive against a military titan right in front of the media. But truth is stranger than fiction. Tanya naturally found the turn of events utterly bewildering. If she could have spoken freely, she probably would have described it as witnessing the moment of a death wish took concrete form. It's war, everyone. I repeat, it's war. A war has just begun. The Empire has declared war on the Regidana Entente Alliance for violating the border. Moments ago, the Entente Alliance army began crossing over at multiple locations. Imperial Army troops are rushing to the border, one after the next, to respond. We've received reports that fighting has already broke out in some areas. But there was no denying the state of friendly armed forces and other troops rapidly deploying below her. At the same time, the war correspondents raised their voices to transmit the latest news to the whole world over the airwaves. Surely the Empire would only pull this publicity stunt with complete confidence in victory. Well, given its vastly superior national might, level of technology, and armaments, it was an obvious choice to make the next move with an eye on victory. If journalists were reporting the developments at the border right up to the declaration of war, it meant the brass was relaxed enough about the situation to think about publicity. Spreading propaganda about the fair, mighty empire wouldn't hurt the political situation either. Furthermore, the Entente Alliance crossing the border first provided legitimate justification, and by admitting the mass media, they were essentially announcing this was a war they would win. Even in this alternate world, national leaders who would consider allowing journalists to freely cover losing battles only existed in fantasy. The fact that imperial officials had nothing to hide, or at least very little, was proof that everything was going smoothly. All of those factors helped ease Tanya's nerves. Honestly, when she first heard that she was getting sent to the north for field training, she wanted to yell, "I hope you rot," to the military state that was planning to work a young girl to the bone out in the borderlands. She wanted to curse being X for getting a good, decent person mixed up in this world to begin with. But Tanya is completely fine with the Empire presenting her with an opportunity to climb the ranks in a one-sided conflict like the Gulf War. This war is winnable, and the soldiers are the winners. Her mission is simply to take out enemies from the safety of the sky and get promoted. While extraordinarily unexpected, it isn't a bad deal. In fact, it's better than not bad. Tanya has been presented with a 1 in a million chance. Border patrol missions are simple but dangerous, and even if you get results, there is a tendency for the brass to claim your achievements don't officially exist thanks to some political consideration ridiculousness. As a result, patrol duty in the disputed Northern Territory has a reputation within the Imperial Army as a all-pain and no-gain endeavor. It isn't easy to rack up achievements there, and to make unfavorable conditions worse, like it or not, Tanya Degerjoff has the physique of a fair-skinned, blue-eyed, blonde-haired little girl. On top of that, a glance at her records show that she's a military academy graduate on track to become an elite mage. If she's selected for an assignment and fails, there would be no way around the bad PR saying the army had ruined a young person with a promising future. Setting her capabilities aside and going strictly by outward appearance, even Tanya feels put off by her doll-like face. If I weren't Tanya, I wouldn't want anything to do with her outside of the call of duty. The subjective perspective has been constant since she was commissioned in the Imperial Army. Before, Tanya didn't have a bad reputation among the instructors, but the fact that her work contributions matched her pay grade simply couldn't wipe out the stains of rumors about the little girl mage. The only way around it was to produce even greater results, but as much as she wanted to do that, the opportunity had never arisen until now. In other words, even though Tanya is a mage, no one recognizes her as one. She's treated like a baby getting in everyone's way. In a sense, they're claiming that she's defective. It's insulting how they barely pay attention to her career. Ironically, the Empire wound up giving her active combat duty in a situation where its army handedly dominated the battlefield, an unexpected stroke of good fortune for her first battle. It seems the war will continue for a while under favorable conditions if Tanya hopes to keep surviving. She needs to use that time to gain status and influence. I also want her to secure some connections. I like how he's talking about her like he's not her. Plus of dynamite. To that end, it's imperative for her to play a proper role in this predictable war and rack up honors and commendations. Having thought that far, Tanya unconsciously curls her rosy lips into a grin as she reassesses the situation. This might not be so bad after all. Actually, couldn't this work out wonderfully for my career? I should consider this a pretty sweet deal. No one is around to overhear her egocentric whisper. Even if someone were flying nearby, the howling of an Imperial artillery gunnery below would have drowned out her voice, not to mention the endless echo of shells making landfalls and exploding. If I think of the cacophony as a VIP view of the Fuji Firepower Review, that is the biggest military exercises viewable in Japan. They're open to the general public to help citizens better understand the Japanese self-defense forces, but people observe the large-scale maneuvers in the same attitude as watching the fireworks show. Thank you for all your hard work on the drills. Oh, that's cool. But with several times the roaring artillery isn't so bad. Fairy 08, this is Goliath 07, requesting firing results. Goliath 07, this is Fairy 08. Good effect on target. I say again, good effect. Tanya's job is simple. She only needs to calmly observe and report to artillery batteries. Flying around with the radio set, weighing her down while maintaining the flight formula isn't easy. But the Imperial Army's computation orb is up to the task. Due to the disputed nature of the Northern Territory, many of the troops spread across the north are temporary transfers from Central Command. On paper, Tanya is only on loan from Central after she completed her field training program. If she takes her duties to heart, she could definitely return to the garrison in Central eventually. A position in the rear echelon isn't just a pipe dream. Once she's chosen as an officer magician in the rear, there's a distinct possibility Tanya could spend the rest of the war on standby under orders to defend the capital. Depending on how she looks at it, personnel might have actually given her a golden ticket for developing a promising career in the long run. Tanya was bitter when she first learned for the decision for her to train in the boring yet perilous north, but it just goes to show that there's no telling in life what could be blessing in disguise. It's a bit late, but I should probably mail thank you letters to my instructors with my latest updates as soon as possible. I have to build up my connections. I can already foresee a rosy career. Even in the midst of battle, Tanya is in visibly high spirits as she spots for artillery on the battlefield. Ferry 08 to Northern Control, please respond. This is Northern Control, loud and clear. The exploding shells below are satisfactorily laying waste to the Entente Alliance infantry who have crossed the national boundary. No matter how rugged the mountainous northern terrain, once artillery is fully deployed, the soldiers casually advancing on the border become nothing more than targets. All the more so if the lay of the land leaves them exposed. Pharaoh 8, roger. Enemy currently under suppressive fire. I believe we've neutralized them. Enemy infantry is breaking ranks. Maintaining a suitable distance, the exceptional artillery batteries fire at unarmored targets under the guidance of an observer in an area where ballistic data was pre-calculated beforehand. It's impossible that the barrage can fail to wipe them out. Down below, the swarms of once orderly infantry fall prey to the howitzers all too easily once they begin fleeing in all directions. As Tanya confirms the situation through a pair of binoculars, it becomes clear that any more will just be a waste of ammo. Northern Control, roger. Advance to Patrol Line 2 and guide suppressive fire against the enemy's primary infantry. Ferry 08, roger. Will advance and continue observation mission. Her dispassionate exchange with Control is so free of noise that Tanya thinks quietly to herself, I didn't expect radios to work so well in actual combat conditions. The sky is overcast as far as her blue eyes can see, so it isn't as though weather will hinder enemy signaling jamming. Yet the noise level can be termed the barely perceptible clear. The signal is so clean that it's almost ridiculous that she's carrying the massive airman radio set, which she was issued in anticipation of poor reception due to magnetic abnormalities caused by northern mineral deposits. Tanya passed over the Entente Alliance's scrambling troops and feels genuinely puzzled as she advances in order to set her sights on the preserving remnants of the enemy army. Seriously, what is the Entente Alliance trying to do? If they want to be targets for live ammunition exercises, they should have said so. I would have volunteered for, strife. I would have volunteered to strife instead of observe if I knew we were going to be hunting for dodos instead of turkeys. The ones on bombing duty in this fight have escorts and control of the air, and if that isn't enough, they get dibs on the juiciest targets. I'm so jealous, I can hardly stand it. Pharaoh 8 to Northern Control. I've advanced to the designated position. Northern Control, roger, we see that. Relaying the situation to the artillery below. Continue to observe points of impact. Pharaoh 8, roger. Remaining on artillery observation until ordered otherwise. Over. Northern Control, roger. Okay. That's the end. That's the end of that part. Let me just... Yeah, the next part's the rest of the chapter, so... Yes. Yes, yes, yes. How are you guys enjoying it so far? Thank you. Stretch time. Oh. Hey, Bubbles. It's a cute baby dog. Hey, Bubbles. Yes. Well, it goes by like time. It like tells you the date. Like every day is its own little section. So I just did another like day worth of reading. Yes. It is gritty, but it's hilarious. Am I the only one who thinks it's funny? Yay! I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. Yes, this is the light novel. Gosh, you guys aren't weebs. You don't know what a light novel is? You don't know why we call it manga? Come on. It's the Saga of Tanya the Evil. It's volume 1. Yes. I want to eat the manga too. I promise I won't read ahead. I will save it for reading with you guys. We can read it together. It'll be fun. Some of the words used for translation are a little cringe. On which part? The anime or the manga or the light novel? I don't think... Light novel doesn't literally... It just means it's book form. The prologue was really good. I enjoyed that too. That's honestly probably my favorite episode of Tanya too. Like, it's just so good. I love the beginning of it. It's so good. I really, really, really want another season of it because I want to know more about being X because I feel like he's hiding some shit. Yes. But yeah, this was a lot of fun, guys. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot, even though it has a lot of big words. I don't know. I'm glad that it has so many little like what are those fucking footnotes? I'm glad it has so many footnotes to like explain shit. I appreciate footnotes. I heavily appreciate footnotes. Footnotes are great. Because usually what I do, I don't know if you guys are like this, but I like to annotate my books. Obviously I'm not doing it right now, but when I'm just reading by myself, I usually read with a pen and I'll annotate my books when I'm reading them. So yeah, helps me remember things that I'm thinking while I'm reading. But yes. He really is. Yes, I'm pretty sure it's on Crunchyroll. It's either on Crunchyroll or Funimation. I don't remember which one it is, but it's definitely on one of them. And it's so good. Like, seriously, if you liked this, you will very much like the anime. It's exactly the same vibe. Like, exactly. So it's great. I don't really need help with the pronunciation of... See, it's not the military terms that I have an issue with. It's the other random things he's talking about, like referencing and shit. That I'm like, bitch, what the fuck? Oh, baby. Tiny Popo. She's like, I'm ready to leave. Hi, I love you. I'm almost done. I love you. Yes. Alright. Well, for the rest of your night, I suggest you go watch the anime. Yeah, the art style is really good in the anime. I mean, it's really good in the light novel, too. I enjoy it, but anime is really good, too. Hi, baby. I love you, baby. But I'm gonna go cuddle the Pupples because she looks very needy right now. And then, yeah. I will have a new video out tomorrow. It's like a really short video. It's like literally 10 minutes, including the outro bloopers and everything. So, yes. Yes. New video tomorrow. It's like really short. Don't expect too much. But, let's see. Other than that, I will be streaming with Katie on Sunday. We're doing Bless Up Dynamite. Thank you, Aztec Warrior. Yeah, me and Katie are gonna be doing a relationship advice Q&A, I think, on Sunday. So, oh yeah, Portia, let me update you guys on that. Fuck. Oh my god. Pain. So much pain, but on the bright side, I did not take that quest again that I took and had to quit. So silver lining. I made back all the progress we made. Took me a while, but I made back all the progress. I organized my house some more, and Scraps finally became my familiar. So I got him a collar. So Scraps is a collar now. Oh, and we're good friends with Emily. And not just friends, we're good friends. So, so it's all good now, but holy shit. I was so upset last night. Oh my god, I was like that fucking, you know, that anime profile pic where it's just like, just sad. That was me last night. I was so upset, bruh. That was the fucking worst. I was like, no. How is that possible? Like, I'm genuinely still confused. Because it was like, okay, I don't know how this happened, but like, it clearly glitched or something. Because I was still level 43, which is what we had gotten to on stream, but I was like 4 days back. Why? 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 It's so confusing. I don't understand it. But, yeah, like, it shouldn't have happened, because, like, I literally didn't do anything wrong. Like, I saved it like normal. It was fully saved, so I didn't do anything. I literally just opened it, and it, like, glitched. It just fully glitched. Because I also still had some items that we had gotten, but not other items that we'd gotten. It's super fucking weird. I have no idea. I have no fucking idea. I have fallen asleep in the dog bed. Funny enough, I actually didn't originally get that for my dogs. I got it for, like, filming. But then my dogs were just like, actually this is ours now because this is giant and fluffy and we'd like to lay in it. But yeah, so I don't know how... That literally doesn't make any sense. Portia is not connected to the clock on the Switch. And I didn't do any time traveling in Animal Crossing after I played Portia. So I literally just played Portia, closed the game after streaming, left it on the charger, picked it up again to play, and it was fucked. Like, literally, that's all that happened. So, it's a glitch. It's a glitch. I literally didn't do anything after playing it. I didn't even touch it. So, no. That's not what happened. Yes. Bitch, I have done so many orange YouTube videos with Tanya. That is... Does no one pay attention when I speak? Casual video tomorrow. So, yeah. Doesn't really matter now. I got back all the progress I had made and more. So, it's fine. But holy shit, that was annoying. Honestly, Portia is a pretty buggy game, so I wouldn't be that surprised if it was just a bug. It's probably just a bug. Because it's like, it was fully saved, so nothing should have done that. And especially the way it happened, it's not like all the progress was lost. It was like half the progress was lost. And not just like half of the days, like the first few days were there, but then no. Like, half of the stuff from the entire thing was there, and then half of the stuff from the entire thing was gone. So it was like, it doesn't make sense. But yes. Yes. I don't know if you're okay or not, but I don't know why you think this is lamp oil. Who the fuck even uses lamp oil? Do you live in the 1800s? Lamp oil? Who the fuck uses... This... Sir, it's the 21st century. What are you talking about? Like, what? Anyway, weirdos aside, I don't know what time me and Katie are gonna be streaming. I'll let you know on Twitter. Otherwise, I will put up a poll for Monday's stream. I don't know what I'm gonna have on there yet, but it will be up for members. So if you want to help decide what I stream on Monday, you can go vote. Yes. Yeah, he must be drinking. He must be drinking it because... Messing with me how, though? How is that messing with me? What's the joke? Like, I love when fucking smooth brains say that. They're like, it was just a joke. I was just messing with you. But, like, how? But how were you? What was the punchline? Because it doesn't make sense. Like, are you just trying to be bizarre to get a reaction? Like, okay, you got one because you made yourself look stupid and weird. Like, that's more of just like a diss on yourself, because it doesn't make me look bad or weird or anything, really. It just makes you look bizarre as fuck, because it's not like a reference to anything. It doesn't make logical sense. It's just random as shit. Like, okay, you got it. Here's that crumb of attention you wanted. Like, is your life really that boring? I mean, like, if you want to get my attention, and actually be funny, or, I don't know, like, anything, but just, like, make yourself look weird, think of something funny. 'Cause that just makes no fucking sense. Like, it doesn't make sense. You meant fragrance oil? The fuck is fragrance oil? What are you talking about? Do you mean perfume? Do you think perfume is pink? 'Cause it's not. I mean, some perfume is pink, but most of it's like a yellowy color. It's not funny. It's not funny. That's not... It's not a joke. It's just weird. It's just confusing and weird. It's get better at shitposting, okay? It doesn't make sense. I have high standards for shitposting in my chat, okay? I will roast you if you're bad at it. You think this is a long stream? You should have been here Wednesday when we did all the progress that we fucking lost. But that's up, Dynamite. gonna finish my drink first. And then I will leave you folks to go watch the first episode of Tanya. Who's gonna go watch it? It should be on Crunchyroll. I'm sure it's probably on YouTube too, honestly. Or like Kiss Anime or something. Cause it always is. Yeah, this is a baby stream. For sure a baby stream. Bro, fucking jeggings though. Oh my god, I'm having more flashbacks. Ah! Fucking jeggings. Fuck. I mean, like, they're great and all, but just the name jeggings. Like, why? Why? Reminds me of, like, Charlotte Russe or something. Oh, fuck. Hell yeah. Bruh, same. I might rewatch it. Maybe. Oh, the movie was so good, but also I was mad it ended. What is wrong, you little cute baby dog? What's wrong, Pumpkin? What is wrong, Pumpkin? Do you need a cookie? Oh, do you need a puppy cookie? Do you need a little cookie? Maybe? A Floppy? Floppy? Do you need a cookie? Flop. Treat for Floppy? A treat? There's a buddy. There's a buddy. Come here. Oh, you have to come here. Come here, buddy. Come here, buddy. Take it. There you go. Good job, buddy. God, it's like I have to fucking coax him into it. Mad that it ended. The ending was fine. I just wanted it to, like, it felt like it ended too soon. Like, it felt like it should have a little bit more to it. Just felt like it wasn't over. But I know that they're probably just setting up for the next season, but like, fuck. Fuck. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Yeah, he really is. He really is. Yeah. He's a baby. And now he wants to leave. Well, good timing, Floppy, because I just finished my drink. So, thank you to everyone who hung out with me while I read. And then, thank you to everyone who donated. Thank you to everyone who subscribed and joined. And, yeah. I will see you guys in my video tomorrow. Otherwise, I will see you guys on Sunday with Katie. And yes, look out for the poll. I'll try to have it up tonight if I remember. If not, it will be up in the morning. But, yeah. Alright, this was very fun, guys. I will definitely do another chapter of this, because I don't want to just, like, leave you hanging here. We'll definitely do another chapter. So, yay. Bye, guys! The pups say bye, but they're hidden off camera, right off camera. Fucking pups. Alright, bye, guys! Have a good night! Let me know on Twitter if you liked the anime first episode compared to what we read, because we read probably like half of the first episode, so yes. Okay, bye. Where's my end screen? There it is. Okay, bye.